Usually when we look at a stack of data for a Saturday afternoon, we're looking at things like form curves, win percentages, maybe how a horse has been training. But for this specific deep dive, Saturday, January 31st, 2026, the most important piece of data, it isn't a horse at all, it's a piece of geometry.
That is absolutely right. We are looking at the V85 round at Färjestad in Karlstad, and you just cannot handicap this track like you do the others. It has a personality, and honestly, it's a bit of a villain.
It's the home stretch, right? Or I guess the lack of one.
Exactly. It's only 177 meters long. That is one of the shortest in the entire region. In simple terms, physics is against you if you're sitting at the back. When that field swings into the final turn, if you're in the queue, you just run out of meters. You can be the fastest horse in the world, but if the finish line comes up too soon, it just doesn't matter.
So the mission today isn't just finding the fastest horse, it's finding the horse that survives the geometry. We need to figure out who gets the lead, what the Swedes call spets, and who gets trapped.
And we have a human element that really amplifies this. We've got two top drivers, Carl-Johan Jeppsson and Bjorn Goop, on their home turf. Jeppsson is fresh back from vacation, probably hungry to reassert his dominance.
And Goop?
Well, he grew up on this track. He knows every single inch of that short stretch. And the stats show when they're at home, they overperform.
Okay, let's get into the weeds. We have 8 races to crack, V85-1 through V85-8. Let's start with V85-1, the star division for the mares. Just looking at the program, Green Peaks jumps out, Jeppsson's driving, 2 straight wins. Is she the Spets winner we're looking for?
You'd think so, looking at the raw numbers. But the deeper analysis suggests she is actually a very fragile favorite. She's what we'd call a soft favorite. She prefers a cover trip hiding in the back, saving energy, and then sprinting late.
Which is exactly what you just said you don't want to do at Färjestad.
Precisely. If she sits back, she risks running out of road. Plus, several sources question her mental fortitude. She isn't the type to do the heavy lifting herself. If she gets forced to work hard early or runs in the wind without cover, she tends to fold. She needs a perfect trip.
So if the favorite needs a miracle, where's the smart money going?
It's leaning pretty heavily towards the challenger, Sierra. Bjorn Goop is driving. Now, she is a complicated animal. She has a history of galloping, just losing her stride and breaking. But she has a massive advantage today called a spring spore. Sierra is on the 20-meter handicap tier, so she physically starts 20 meters behind the first group. But spring spore is a specific starting lane, usually 6 or 7, that lets you get a running start.
Like a slingshot.
Yeah, like a slingshot. If Goop times that rotation perfectly, he can get a flying start that basically erases that 20-meter disadvantage in 5 seconds. He hits the gas while the others are still finding their feet.
So the calculus is, if Sierra stays flat and trots, she wins.
That's the consensus. If she trots, she is arguably 2 classes better than Green Peaks. It's a high-risk, high-reward play for sure.
But this is a huge field, 15 horses. If Green Peaks gets trapped and Sierra gallops, who picks up the pieces?
There are a couple of interesting long shots. One is Appia Express. She's often bet heavily, but is flying under the radar today. She's got speed if she can find a gap. The other is Colombe Blanche. She's drawn at post 1. On this track, post 1 is prime real estate for a pocket ride, sitting right behind the leader, saving all that energy. If the leader tires, she's right there.
So V85-1 is a tactical minefield to start the day. Let's move to V85-2, the bronze division. The data here feels different, less chaotic.
Much less chaotic. This race gives us our first potential banker, a single mark on the ticket. The horse is Katmandu Miraz, driven by Stefan Persson.
Why is the confidence so high on him?
It's a mix of class and circumstance. Last time out, he had a terrible trip, but put in this furious finish, showed incredible grit. Today, he's effectively dropping slightly in class, or at least facing a field he should handle. Plus, the sources all view the return to a longer distance, 2,140 meters, as a huge positive for him. He's just a solid, strong horse.
But I have to play the skeptic here. It's horse racing. What goes wrong for him?
The only real threat is speed. There's a horse called Ogden Boko. He is lightning fast off the gate. If he hits the lead, the Spets, on this track with that short stretch, he becomes very, very hard to catch.
Catch me if you can.
That's the game. The issue with Ogden Boko is that he's coming off a gallop, so his form is a bit of a question mark. But if you don't trust the banker in Katmandu Miraz, Ogden Boko's the one you have to guard with.
Is there anyone else? What about the Skreller, the long shots?
Well, if you want a total shocker, maybe look at Magic Bourbon, another Bjorn Goop horse. High capacity, but he's stuck out in post 8. Terrible draw. Needs a lot of luck. And Cameron Hills has the home track advantage, But really, this race feels like it's Kathmandu's to lose.
All right, hold on to your hats because V85-3 looks like absolute chaos. It's the cold blood division.
This race is over a short distance, 1,640 meters. And we have a classic handicapping problem. The favorite is Hawk Victor. Purely on capacity, on raw talent, he's the best horse in this field.
So why isn't he a lock?
Because of the start. He's on a 20-meter handicap with an inner spore, the inside lane. Picture this. It's a short sprint race, and he is buried on the inside rail behind a wall of slower horses.
He's in a traffic jam before the race even really starts.
Exactly. He might be the fastest, but he might never see daylight. He could cross the finish line with a ton of energy left, but just nowhere to go. And that opens the door wide for Harkar.
Harkar seems to have the opposite setup.
Complete opposite.
Yeah.
Harkar is on the frontier, no handicap. He had that spring spore we just talked about. And Bjorn Goop is driving. The strategy is transparent. Goop will aim for the lead immediately. If Harkar gets to the front and Hawk Victor is stuck behind him, well, the race is over. Harkar becomes the joker that steals the win.
I noticed a horse named Gargamel in the list. 3 straight wins. Usually that just screams, bet me. But the experts seem cool on him.
It's the context of those wins. He's stepping way up in competition today and facing Norwegian horses. And in the cold blood world, the Norwegian horses are just notoriously tough. The consensus is that Gargamel is overplayed. His record looks better than his chances in this specific company.
Are there any long shots we should circle in this chaos?
For You Jerkin is strong and overlooked. And Osvin SK, he had plenty of energy left after a collision last time. If he finds space, he can finish fast. But really, this race is a headache. It's one where you might want to cover as many bases as your wallet allows.
Let's move to calmer waters, hopefully. V85-4. The Silver Gold division. This is a tiny field, only 8 horses. Does that change the strategy with the track geometry?
Completely. In a field of 15, bad luck and traffic can kill you. In a field of 8, raw talent usually wins because there's just more room to maneuver. And that is why Carrot River is such a massive favorite here.
He's starting from the back row, though, post 9.
Normally on a short track, post 9 is tough. But with only 8 horses, he doesn't have to navigate through a wall of traffic. He can just slide out and grind them down. Remember, he recently beat High on Pepper, who was a top-tier horse. That performance puts Carrot River in a different stratosphere than these guys.
So how does the race play out tactically?
Well, the likely scenario is that the front runners, horses like Parvani or Chapu, will rush for the lead. They'll burn energy fighting each other for that prime spot.
Setting the table for the favorite.
Exactly. They tire each other out, and Carrot River just eats them up in the final lap. Most sources are calling this a spick, a single mark.
Is there any scenario where he loses?
Only if he has a really off day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are extremely risk-averse, you could include Xanthus Hilton or Parvani, but you'd be betting on the favorite failing, not on the challengers winning.
Okay, let's look at V85-5 Class 6. This one is over the long distance, 2,640 meters. And this is where I want to get technical because I love a good gear change story. You flagged a horse named Connoisseur.
Right. This is the kind of nugget that can win you money if you're paying attention. Connoisseur is a bit of a long shot, but there is a major upgrade happening today. He's racing in an American bike that's a specific type of aerodynamic sulky for the first time ever. You combine that with the fact that the legendary driver Jorma Contio is taking the reins. It creates a variable the betting market often just underestimates. He's a potential shock winner.
And who is the safe pick that Connoisseur is trying to upset?
The safe pick is handful off dollar, 3 straight wins, strong over the long distance. But again, he's starting from the back row. If you want a front runner, look at Orion.
Orion has an interesting stat regarding the lead, doesn't he?
He's unbeaten from the lead. 2 wins in 2 attempts. He has a good draw at post 4. If he hits the front and controls the pace over this long distance, he could just sort of sleepwalk to a win while the others are fighting in the back.
Okay, turning the page to V85-6, Class 3. This race features a horse that looks perfect on paper. 5 billion, undefeated, 4 wins and 4 starts. Why are the experts worried?
We're worried because perfection is often fragile. 5 billion is incredibly talented, but he is green. He's inexperienced. In his last race, he actually lost his rhythm and galloped for a moment. He managed to recover and win, which shows his raw class, but it also shows he's still figuring out his own legs.
And today he has to figure them out from post 12.
The death trap. At Färjestad, post 12 is historically the worst possible starting position. You are parked out in the parking lot, essentially. You have to go around the entire field.
So we have an inexperienced horse in the worst possible spot.
Exactly. The sources are split right down the middle. Half say his class is so high that the position doesn't matter, he'll just run around them. The other half say it's a trap, that the risk of traffic trouble is just too high for a favorite at low odds.
If he gets stuck out there, who takes advantage?
There's a horse called Merlin Miras. He's fascinating because he is making his debut for a new trainer, Maria Turnfist.
Ah, the new environment factor.
It's a real thing. A change of scenery, new training, new food. It often wakes a horse up. Merlin Miras is well-bred, but has underperformed. If the new trainer has unlocked his potential, he is the value play here.
I don't know what else.
Eventual is the logical, tough alternative. And keep an eye on Fakir Vendel. They're trying an open-eye headgear for the first time to boost his starting speed. If 5 billion struggles, this race becomes wide open.
V85-7, the Diamant Stoet. I saw a quote in the research comparing this race to a penalty kick without a goalie. That's a bold statement.
That is the hype surrounding Finance Lady Par, and honestly, the data backs it up. Last time out, she had a nightmare trip, but clocked a blistering 1.09 pace for the last 700 meters. That is serious speed.
That's elite speed.
It is. And today, she doesn't have a nightmare draw. She has post 2. Perfect. She can get out, find a position, and use that speed. She's widely considered the banker of the round.
But just to be safe, let's assume the goalie does show up. Maybe she has a bad day. Who's the backup plan?
The backup is Pearl Case, driven by Goop. She also sat with energy left in the tank last time. If the favorite falters for any reason, she is next in line.
And for the brave,
Ellen Ripley. If you look at her last result, it looks bad. But she was hanging in the spurs trapped, 3 wide the whole time. Her result is misleading. If you want to bet against the penalty kick, she's the one that pays out big because everyone else will be ignoring her.
Finally, we reach the last leg, V85-8. We have a favorite, Gliding Eagle, who is known for being fast off the start. But looking at the analysis, the experts seem lukewarm.
He's what we call a cold favorite.
Yeah.
Yes, he gets to the lead, but he lacks grit. He was run down in the lead last time. Sources question if he really wants to fight when it gets tough at the finish line. He's a frontrunner who might not have the heart for a dogfight.
If the favorite has a glass jaw, who has the knockout punch?
Ready Creation. He won very easily last time. He's stuck at post 11, which isn't great, but the consensus is that his capacity is simply higher than the favorites. Plus, there's a gear change, potentially the first time with Norwegian headgear.
What does that do?
It's a type of blinder that the driver can pull down during the race. It suddenly restricts the horse's vision, which usually causes them to focus intensely and surge forward. It's like a turbo button for the final stretch.
And we can never count out Bjorn Goop in the last race of the day, right?
Never. He's driving La Samada. Fast start. Won via the open stretch recently. He could steal this race right at the start if Gliding Eagle hesitates for even a second.
Are there any bombs in this last race?
Tangelo. Mentioned by a few sources as a total shock if he finds a way into the race. And River Tuma is in great form, 3 wins and 4 starts.
So let's pull all this together for the listener building a ticket. It seems like a day of extremes, some very clear winners and some total chaos.
It really is. You have 2 solid anchors or pillars to build around. Carrot River in V85-4 and Finance Lady Par in V85-7. The confidence level on those 2 is very, very high.
And the cracks in the foundation. Where do we need to spend our money on insurance?
The favorites in the first and last races, Green Peaks and Gliding Eagle, they're vulnerable. They have flaws that can be exploited. And the cold blood race, V85-3, that is total chaos. That's where you need to spread your budget and cover as many horses as you can.
And it all comes back to that 177-meter home stretch.
You cannot ignore it. If you aren't near the front when they turn for home, you aren't winning.
Good luck with your deep dive into the betting coupons this Saturday at Färjestad.
Good luck, everyone.